Was moon landing fake? As the Cold War raged on, the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union reached new heights. Each nation was determined to outdo the other, with the ultimate goal of putting a human on the moon. But what if the moon landing was fake? Here are 7 pieces of evidence that suggest it might have been. Shadows and lighting inconsistencies. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence that the moon landing was faked is the shadows and lighting in the footage. Conspiracy theorists argue that the angles and direction of the shadows in the footage are inconsistent with the position of the sun on the moon. Some claim that multiple light sources were used to stage the footage, leading to inconsistencies in the shadows. Lack of stars in the footage. Another piece of evidence that suggests the moon landing was faked is the lack of stars in the footage. According to conspiracy theorists, if the footage was shot on the moon, there should have been countless stars visible in the sky. However, in the footage, there are no stars to be seen. The waving flag. One of the most iconic images from the moon landing is the American flag planted in the lunar soil. However, conspiracy theorists argue that the flag appears to be waving in the footage, even though there is no atmosphere on the moon to cause it to move. Some claim that the flag was intentionally designed to wave in order to make the footage appear more convincing. Lack of blast crater. When the lunar module landed on the moon, it should have created a blast crater. However, in the footage, there is no visible crater beneath the module. Conspiracy theorists argue that this is evidence that the footage was staged and that the module was actually lowered onto the set. No visible dust cloud. Another piece of evidence that suggests the moon landing was faked is the lack of a visible dust cloud when the lunar module landed. According to conspiracy theorists, the powerful rocket engines on the module should have kicked up a significant amount of dust, but there is no visible cloud in the footage. Radiation levels. The radiation levels on the moon are extremely high, and conspiracy theorists argue that the astronauts would not have been able to survive the exposure. However, NASA claims that the astronauts were protected by their suits and the lunar module, which shielded them from the radiation. Van Allen radiation belt. The Van Allen radiation belt is a zone of energetic charged particles that surrounds the Earth. Conspiracy theorists argue that the radiation levels in the belt are too high for humans to pass through, which would have made it impossible for the astronauts to travel to the moon. However, NASA claims that the astronauts were only exposed to a small amount of radiation as they passed through the belt. While there is no concrete evidence to support the theory that the moon landing was faked, these 7 pieces of evidence are enough to make anyone question the official story. Whether you believe in the conspiracy or not, there is no denying that the moon landing remains one of the most fascinating and controversial events in human history.